Yeah, so after obtaining the Oblivion Platinum in my previous video, I'm virtually the saviour of not only Kvatch, but Cyrodill too. With Mehrunes Dagon defeated, I return to Cloudruler Temple and go for a little walk. But what the hell is that?
Hail!
Sometime later on, after sorting out my equipment loads for the journey, I run up a hill like an absolute lunatic and I find myself there at Frost Crag Spire. I enter the mysterious place and I cannot lie, I think I found myself a new base of operations. No need to be a bad tenant anymore at Cloudruler Temple.
You'd better explain yourself.
And okay, now it's all coming back to me. Back in the day, this wasn't included in the Oblivion Game of the Year edition on PS3. Alright, cool, let's have a look. So, I explore the condo and get a notification that I have to furnish it. So, off I go to the Imperial City to buy the most relevant things and return to a somewhat furnished place. I neatly deposit all my items, just like back at Cloudruler Temple, have a gander at the view and make my way off to that strange door above Niven Bay, the one I had saw at the end of the base game. Once arrived, I get a quest and something crazy happens.
Look out! Oh! I'd stay back from that door if I were you. Nothing that's gone in has come out right.
Moments later, I enter after a stern warning and I'm greeted by Haskill, a chamberlain to the one and only sheogorath.
Yes, what can I do for you? I imagine you're here about the door?
I comply with his demands and I'm allowed entry into the Daedric Prince's realm, the Shivering Isles. This gives me the first trophy of the DLC, Tourist.
Enjoy your stay.
We make our way to the Gates of Madness and arriving succinctly, we see a dude known as Sheldon.
Hello, I'm Sheldon.
The mayor of Passwall informs me of adventurers attempting the gate and I follow to see what all the buzz is about.
You've got nice bones.
The gatekeeper of Madness wipes them out.
Too much. Killed all my men. Get out of my way.
And you know me, I get ready to rumble. Partway through, it doesn't go too well, but it did bring back memories of having done the exact same thing back in the day. And once dead, I reload and realise that a better plan than just brute force is required. I return to the town and talk to the mayor, who points me to the Bone Man.
Jared Iceveins
Informs me that the only way to kill a gatekeeper is with the bones of another gatekeeper. So we venture off to the Garden of Flesh and Bone. Once there, we find what we need and get attacked by some skelly boys. And after, he tells me to visit him in 24 hours. And just like that, he presents me bone arrows.
Let's go kill the...
Without wasting any time, we make our way there and I get the first hit on him. Jared shows up later and we take him down. I obtain the keys to Dementia and Mania and Haskill makes a sudden appearance.
So, you've managed to kill the gatekeeper.
He proposes 2 doors that I can enter. I first repair my gear, important of course, and make my way into the realm proper via the Dementia entrance. Into this alien world. It kind of reminds me of what Morrowind might be like, as Oblivion was my first Elder Scrolls game, but I quickly encounter my first victim, the Grummite Torturer. We use our zappy stick that does 80 points of lightning damage and take it out. I continue on to the Crucible, the lower town before New Sheriff's Palace. Now I gotta say, this place is badass. Love the gothic aesthetic, and for those who didn't know, I'm a 90s kiddo, so things like Harry Potter, Diagon Alley, all that kind of vibe is basically my childhood. Progressing on, we arrive at the palace grounds of New Sheriff and meet the man in question, the myth, the lunatic, sheogorath, the Daedric Prince.
A new arrival!
Tasks me with the lofty mission of saving the realm, tells me to go to Cyrodill. However, before that, I'm given the trophy Aspirant. I make my way there and enter. I have to kill shamans to activate the Judgment Nexus. To open the gate, we are greeted by Caliban.
Finally, Lord Sheogorath has sent someone to assist me.
Who tells us to view our handiwork in action. To dissuade has-be adventurers that come into the Shivering Isles. We have the choice between bad and worse outcomes for them. Putting them through their misery, I speak to Caliban once again.
You've made short work of the intruders.
He tells me of the rewards and gives me an unusual weapon recovered by the orc warrior Gromok called Dawnfang. Suddenly, we are attacked by Knights of the Order. After the battle, Caliban tells me to inform sheogorath of their return, and off I go. Before that, I get a trophy, Citizen. We leave Cyrodill and return to inform sheogorath. He doesn't seem half surprised.
Well now, what news do you have to report?
But gives me a summoning spell for Haskell. I summon him many times to his elation.
Our Lord has granted you the power to summon me. How wonderful for me.
And speak to sheogorath. That tells me that I hardly know the ways of his people, so I therefore venture off to meet the Lady of Paranoia, Lady Sil.
Why do you approach the Duchess of Dementia? Do you seek death?
In her domain, she recognises me as the one the Mad God sent and tells me to find out who wants to kill her. She gives me a Inquisitor, Hardia, for shock treatment. Mate, these names, I swear, and we're off to the races. I'll save you some time on this one. This quest unravels into a whole conspiracy between Mazada and Narlene. I swear, man, these names. In which we find them snooping around after hours. 24 hours later, we enter Mazada's home and we find him dead. But also we find Narlene's ceremonial sword. We return and confront her at the palace, who informs us to speak to Maureen, in which she admits everything.
Sil deserves to die a painful death.
We return to Lady Sil, who locks her up in her torture chamber. She executes Maureen, and I speak to her again. After the quest is completed, I'm off to visit the Duke Vaden.
Yes, there you are.
Once there, he's a bit loopy, but informs me that he desires the Chalice of Reversal. So off I go on another trek to the quest marker Dunroot Burrow and enter. We need to obtain Feldu from Eltra Hatchlings. Mate, I'm butchering his names, I swear. We eat it and the pathway opens up to us. Inside it's like a maze, and we eventually find ourselves in a ruin of some sorts. We find addicts chilling out at a table, and we get physical and take it for our own goal. We return to Faden, who grants me Courtier of Mania, and I obtain the trophy Madman. So at this point, returning to sheogorath, he tells me I'm to stop the Grey March by trying to break the cycle of events. He sends me to Charlene Arumazal, I think, preparing for battle against the Mascan. She tells me she holds the Altar of Rapture, while the Mascan, Altar of Despair. She asks for my help and I comply. We get into a confrontation with the Mascan and enter Charlene. Within there, we fight hordes of dark seducers until we burst their commander and light the flame. Leave the dungeon, step in it, and return to sheogorath glowing in the Scalium. Here I light the ritual torch with Arctus and obtain the trophy Honoured Man. Now, speaking to Arctus, he informs me of the Ritual of Ascension. Here I'm given 2 quests, which involves me killing one of the current ruling powers, the Duchess or the Duke. So first, I tackle the Duchess. I travel to her court and ask her retainers for information. Convince Anya Herrick of a plausible plan. She claims she will create a distraction to rid the interior of elite dark seducers. And speaking to Kiflan, he gives me a key to Sil's wing of the palace. Venturing there, I'm immediately attacked by dark seducers, and rightfully so. I beeline it to Sil's room, and here she's lying dead, and the plot thickens. Kiflan notifies me that the ritual isn't over. There's a secret pathway, and I find it out in the palace yard. Entering, I find myself in a dungeon of sorts, a labyrinth of traps, until I meet, or eventually find Sil, all geared up for a fight. I take her out after trading blows and remove her heart. I then return all the way back to speak to sheogorath.
You have things to do.
However, interrupted by Faden's arrival, he swears betrayal for the death of his wife, Sil, and joins Jigalad, the mastermind behind the Grey March. Once Faden departs, I'm told to help his armies, and here I get Duke of Dementia. However, at this point of the journey, I reload the game so I can obtain the Duke of Mania trophy also. So I do just that, load back in, and now follow the questline surrounding the killing of Faden. I go and speak to those in his court. Gondola, who points me to Wide Eyes, in which I find in the palace gardens reading a book. I bribe her and ask her about his routines and Greenmoot. She's not too forthcoming regarding the latter, so I follow her and wait outside for the right time. Spying her enter the bus in the Bliss, I enter behind her and follow. So this whole bit was a little bit of a ball ache. I messed up so many times, but I found out it was just easier to bulldoze my way through and collect the Greenmoot. Ultimately, I just got arrested, but it was the quickest and easiest way just to resolve the conflict. After the inconvenience, I make my way to his court once again. sneak into Théoden's conservatory, continue to the Duke's quarters to spike his meal with an extra dose of green meat for the killing blow. I get caught again. I seriously suck at stealth in this game, I swear, and just brute force it. I place it in his food and get arrested as per usual, pay the poxy fine and return to the throne room where I wait until his mealtime and then watch the scene unfold. With him dead and his blood collected, I return to the Scallum and finish the ritual.
And Guy.
You've done it!
By no surprise, the Duchess arrives, enraged, and she too expresses her plans for betrayal. sheogorath tells me, like before, that I must help his armies, and at that point I obtain Duke of Mania. Arriving at the gates of madness and venturing into town, everything looks a little different, and I'm met with Knights of Order fighting Golden Saints. We defeat them and speak to Ulrich, the commander.
Pass wall is under attack.
She mentions a spire that appeared in the middle of town, and we hold off on many waves of enemies until victory is ours. I'm told to go to Zedethen that runs under pass wall. Entering, some of the enemies here in the Shivering Isles I can't absorb their souls, so the weapon I initially did bring does garbage damage. Absolute fart. So I mostly skipped these enemies until I needed their hearts, as you'll soon see. Along the way I meet a familiar face, but I leave him and progress onwards towards my impending doom.
It's you. I remember you.
After a million of these night guys, I deactivate the crystal obelisk with 3 hearts of order. At this point, the whole spire was collapsing and I basically legged it. I'm not sure if it's just me, maybe somebody else comment and let me know too, but for the life of me, I kept dying here when the ceiling collapsed over and over again. However, I eventually figured it out. I survived the collapsing ruins of Zedethen and seek out Ulrich. I don't know why she looks like the golden lady from the 007 Goldfinger movie.
I cannot believe it.
But I inform her of the news and return to sheogorath, who gives me my next task to revive the gatekeeper. At this point I made off to Salem to meet Raumina. Mate, these names. Once there I trek through the hordes of enemies and find her torturing someone in a dungeon.
You. I remember you.
I inform her that a new gatekeeper is requested by sheogorath and she sets me off on my task to do the deed. Once I obtain blood liquor, osseous marrow, dermis membrane and essence of breath, I return
with all the components. Excellent.
and she tells me to pick out body parts most effective for the new gatekeeper. Having done so, we migrate to the gates of madness and the ritual takes place whereby she added all the ingredients to conjure up her child. Her words, not mine. I then watch him in action and then report the news to sheogorath back in bliss. Here, I get Regent.
A new gatekeeper! Excellent!
For Defender, I'm told to go to Pinnacle Rock with all I have attacked.
Thank you for coming. I apologize for summoning you.
Adio informs me that they've imprisoned their commander and for me to rescue her. I enter the honor halls, swamped by Knights of the Order. It got a little silly actually, so I employed my previous strat. I legged it. We find Dylora, who tells me to ring the bells that will shatter the crystal that hold her prisoner. I eventually find the bell, ring it, and make our way to the wellspring of Mazken. However, the captured lose their power, and it evidently becomes my task to make the waters flow and thus restore their power. Once in the room, I get hoarded for a while and end up stranded. And then I realise where the bells are that need to be rung. I ring them all and the Mazken return, joining into the fray. We continue our purge of the Knights of Order, and once all done, Adio, I swear I'm pronouncing that wrong, thanks me and I obtain the trophy Defender.
Indeed.
I return to sheogorath once again and he tells me how he failed. Here I learn that his Jiggalad
Shall crumble before Jiggalad!
But Haskell tells me that hope is not lost. Here, he directs me to sit on the throne and become the Mad God in his stead. But first, I must speak with a being in Knife Point Hollow who might know how. And entering, passing several enemies, I find the individual Dias.
I have been waiting for you, Your Grace.
I must obtain divine essence and an eye that's seen which no other has. So I venture off to the Howling Halls in which I enter. After battering several enemies, quite literally, plug the eye from Surtur's head. I then go to Milchar for the divine essence. After progressing through the cave, I'm faced off with a shade of myself. Interestingly, I obtain a cool weapon after its defeat. Then I return to Dias and he creates the staff right before my eyes. Returning to the palace, Haskell tells me what I must do next.
Ah, you're back.
I'm to enter the fountainhead beneath the tree and stop the poisoning of the fountain, thanks to Syl's betrayal. I enter and find a new game mechanic whereby I had to follow the gnolls to purify the surrounding surge. This bit took way too long and sometimes they bugged out and didn't even move. However, I did eventually move in, opened the gates into the fountainhead where Syl waited in ambush.
No more. No more.
We battle it out, and of course I win, and then return to the surface to soak the new staff of sheogorath in the purified fonts of madness. Moments later, a golden state appears, and the plot thickens once again.
My lord, our Mazel Zuda sent me to find you.
I'm told to speak to Mazel, and she informed me that the Knights of Order have invaded the palace grounds and requests assistance. Therefore, as a new mad god, I join her defending the realm. Here we need to shut down the obelisks by implanting 3 hearts of order from fallen foes. And once I'm victorious, the man himself appears, Jigalad. We clash swords, and without a doubt I come out on top. Here I obtain Mad God. The strange head above me literally shut me up. I don't remember this happening back in the day, but yeah, it's kind of zany either way. After that, I return to Haskell.
You've done it.
Who informs me that there are plenty of matters that deserve my attention, and with the realm saved, not gonna lie, I think it's a good time for me to book it. So back to Cyrodill I return. Feels good to be back home, but now I must return home to deposit some items. I deposit them nice and neatly and get changed into what we in the UK would call tracky bottoms after a hard day's work. I then go out on the veranda for a breather, and I think I ought get myself a pint, so off I go to Breville. Yeah, I just remembered that the Mages Guild is on fire, but more importantly, I make my way to Olav's Tap and Tack. Here is where I get a few cold ones and get stared at uncomfortably by the inhabitants.
What is it?
If you're still watching and you desire how my first adventure went, give this video a gander.